Here I am in my Saturday morning grungy best. Today I'm going to put on part, if not all, probably just part, of the lift that I've assembled. I did a cheap lift on this thing. It's, well, fairly cheap. Did a cheapness to quality ratio. I bought most stuff on sale. Most of it was probably about 50% off. I got some rough country. I got a rough country track bar for the rear. I've got Rubicon springs for the rear. I've got rough country shocks. I think that's about it. I'll mention other stuff if and when I get to it. But I guess we'll start by taking off the wheels. Now I want to try to find some point that will be good for jacking this up. And we want to get it as high as we safely can so that we can droop the axle as much as possible and compress the spring as little as possible. So I got the Jeep all jacked up about as high as I could. It's looking pretty sturdy. I'll go ahead and start loosening this. Okay, so this is what I had going on before. Stock springs with a 2-inch puck. This is supposedly 4.5-inch lift. Coil spring for the rear. I believe I got the set for 80. These are adjustable upper rear. Max Petting Rod, it's a cheap brand. These are Max Petting Rod too. These I believe were like, got them on sale for like 50 bucks. These were like 80. The shocks over there were like 80, oddly enough. And the track bar, this is rough country. Got it for, I think 140, 150, something like that. Anyway, that's what I'm gonna throw on here. And now that I drooped the springs, this very easily, the springs came out and they'll go back in pretty easy too, I think. First thing I'm going to want to do is get the springs on both sides. That can be the trickiest part. You want to get it kind of aligned up with that retainer there, and this is where the retainer clip goes on, but there's a little catch there for the spring. Do that on both sides. This is an isolator. I had it on the bottom of the puck, but I took the puck off, put this back on. Gonna do the same thing with the other side, and then we'll jack it up just a little bit to start putting on control arms and other stuff. One of the things we're gonna have to deal with is pinion angle. You want the pinion angle the same as the angle coming off the yoke, or like matching up in parallel. The yoke here with the yoke off of the transfer case. That way it's the best for eliminating driveline vibration. So as we lift this up, I'm going to be playing with all sorts of angles to try to get all the holes to match up. I'm not going to tighten anything to torque until everything is put in and aligned, and then we'll tighten everything down. Stuff is finally starting to come together. Got our lower control arm around there. I went ahead and put this, and it's kind of annoying. You have to go through this hole in the frame to hold the, you can't even see it in there, sorry. There, I put the bolt in there. It's getting close. I'm gonna extend this a little bit longer than what the factory one is, the stock one. But these are fixed length. These are set for 3 to 4.5 inch lift, and these give me 4.5 inch of lift. These go up to 8 inches of lift. So I'm gonna take it out a little bit extra from stock, and I'm probably just gonna put it back together and see if my pinion angle is close. I'm just gonna drive it and see if I get much vibration. Here's my control bar, or my tracking bar. And this tracking bar is nifty. I have this on my other ZJ. You can very easily, just by turning this thing, shift the axle to the passenger driver side, and it'll have to be recentered, and I'll do that by just finding a common point here on both sides and the common point here, something on the axle, something on the frame that I can measure on both sides, and just making sure that the distances are equal. And then this goes in there. I'm gonna button this up, but it's coming together. So this is what I did on my other CJ. It seemed to have worked good. To clamp on the, I know it's kind of janky, but to clamp on the parking brake, I just used a couple of hose clamps. Clamped a small one around here, and then another one around here. It doesn't go anywhere. Well, that is all bolted up except for this sway bar link. I will do that, tighten everything to spec. Here we go again, same thing, other side. I've already got it up on jack stands. Already took off the sway bar link, and I already replaced the track bar. And there's a mount over there. I didn't get that on video. Yeah, there it is over there. Goes in the exact same place as the stock mount. So today we're gonna take off the shock, take off the control arm, and hope we have enough droop to get the spring out, put the other spring in. So I'm gonna take note of where the little hole is right there, and then it goes right. There's a mark there, I don't know if you can see it. It looks like it's lined right up. And I'll just put it back right about there. Once I'm all done with this, it's always recommended to get an alignment. I'm gonna do a backyard alignment a bit, and then I'll get it fine-tuned at somewhere at a shop. There's not a whole ton of adjustment that can go into these. Centering the axle underneath the vehicle, that is accomplished with the track bar, and we'll adjust on this track bar, the far side over there, it's threaded. So I'll adjust that to get in the center as best I can. Measuring points again, just like I did on the rear, except I didn't record that. And then the toe, and that's the angle that these are at, getting pushed in. Angled this way is the toe. Kevin has a gauge that bolts on to the wheel, and you can measure the gap in the back as compared to the gap in the front. And with the particular gauge you get, it'll tell you what it should be. And then you adjust it until it's in specs. More bolt to get from the top, and it looks like this is gonna come off pretty easy. There's a retainer right in there. That was an easy out. I'll see if I can get the other one in 2 inches more without compression. So I have a used set of rough country shocks that I'm going to put in here. I got another pair of Rubicon 4.5-inch lift springs. These aren't the stock springs. These are already lifted 2 inches. Yeah, and then I got another pair of these $80-ish set control arms. And I'm not gonna replace the upper control arms for now. Anyway, let's get to the top. Got one more bolt up there. We have to pop the hood. Here's the top. Oh, underneath they're 13s. I guess they're 14 up here. Or a 15, holy cow. Almost forgot, I'm gonna use a trick from Bleepin' Jeep and gonna make some bump stops for this. I'll show you that. So this is similar to what they did on Bleepin' Jeep, so thanks to Bleepin' Jeep for this. I'm just gonna stack a bunch of pucks that I've drilled out in the center. I'm gonna put them in the middle of this thing, of the spring, and it'll act as my bump stop. Don't know if this is gonna be a little bit too big, a little bit too short. We'll see when we go wheeling. I've done this on another Jeep and it worked pretty well. Now, how am I gonna get this sucker in there? That's the question. I might have to do some compressing. Oh. This is going to be fun. So I might be able to turn this just right, because if you rotate it, you can get it. There are points that are closer towards the top of the seat. I'm so close. Oh, we are so close. Yeah, I'm getting dangerous though, I think. Okay, so I've rethought this. I've repositioned everything. Let's see if I can get a better angle of approach on this thing. And there we go. Got it in there. This is not a how-to. Please be careful if you're dealing with, especially if you're dealing with springs, they can be dangerous. Don't try to compress them too much or do anything too crazy. Now, I don't know if you can see it very well, but right down there, that's where the retainer goes. The little clip I took off, and this thing has kind of, there's a little notch is down there. The spring hits it when you twist it. So it sits in there, and then you've got the retainer back here. And that is the hardest part, getting that spring in. Now we'll just start lifting it up slowly and getting the bolts and everything before we end up tightening everything to spec. Well, that's pretty much it. I'll show you how to, the length that I've got for this. I have a quick disconnect that I'm gonna put in there. Rough country, I think it was 70 bucks. Like everything was 70, 80 bucks a piece. Anyway, we're getting close now. This is getting exciting. It is time to put on the sway bar quick disconnects. Something like this. Here's a quick look at my rough country quick disconnect sway bar links. So this piece here just goes on the bottom of the sway bar with a washer and a bolt, and then this is the mount. There's a washer on this side, a bolt on this side for connecting the sway bar. Cotter pin or a pin will go through here, quick release pin for when you're off the road. You can disconnect it and it'll come out. And then it's also got these little hooks up here that the sway bar link, you'll mount them up there, and the sway bar link will fit in here, and then you can attach it with the quick release pin. That's a quick look at this. I like it. I've got it on my other Jeep anyway.